You know that feeling? When you're trying to jump into an English conversation, but it feels like your brain's stuck in slow motion.
Yeah, the conversation zips ahead and you're still back there trying to piece your sentence together.
Exactly. Or you finally say something, but you hear that little hesitation, that wobble in your voice, even when you know the words.
If that sounds familiar, well, you're definitely in the right place.
So this deep dive, we're really focusing in on you, the listener, and how to speak English faster, more naturally.
We've gathered insights from, various experts, linguists, successful learners.
Right.
To find the most practical techniques, the mission is really to pull out the best, most actionable stuff for you.
And we've mapped out a pretty clear path. We're going to talk about thinking in English, which is, well, a big one.
Huge.
Using common phrases, those ready-made chunks. How to cut down on the ums and ahs.
Yeah, the hesitation fillers.
Then we get into techniques like shadowing and imitation, which sound maybe a bit technical, but are actually really powerful.
Surprisingly effective, yeah.
We'll look at why stressing too much about grammar can actually slow you down.
A very common trap.
Common mistakes people make when trying to speed up. And finally, some concrete daily exercises you can actually use.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
So where do we kick things off to get faster?
Let's start right at the core, which is thinking in English.
Right, because that translation step.
Exactly. For so many learners, that habit of translating in your head from your first language, it's just a massive bottleneck.
It's like running everything through Google Translate before you speak. Takes time.
It really does. It's an extra mental process. So the key insight we found across the board is train your brain to think directly in English.
Sounds maybe intimidating, but it's achievable, right? Not just for advanced speakers.
Absolutely not. Anyone can start. A really simple way is just describing your surroundings in English, silently, in your head, or even quietly aloud if you're alone.
Like just looking around right now. Blue mug, computer screen, bright light, that kind of thing.
Precisely. Walking outside, green tree, fast car, cloudy sky, cooking, hot pan, chopping onions, red tomato.
Doing it anywhere, basically. While getting dressed, shopping.
It builds that direct link. Object to English word. No detour through another language.
It's like building this internal English map of your world.
And another great technique is having silent chats with yourself in English.
Okay, how did that work?
So say you're prepping for a work meeting. Instead of mentally rehearsing in your native language, do it in English. Okay, I need to tell Sarah about the budget. I'll start with, "Hi, Sarah, do you have a minute to talk about the Key 3 budget?"
Ah, I see. So you're practicing the actual sentences you might use.
Exactly. It primes your brain, makes those phrases come more easily later.
Makes sense.
Another small but kind of powerful trick, change your phone language to English.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it. All those menus, notifications, app names, you see them constantly. It just drip feeds English vocabulary and structure into your daily life.
That's clever. Low effort, high exposure.
And reading, of course. Social media feeds, news headlines, maybe a book. You absorb sentence patterns, vocabulary, often without even realizing it.
So it's all about immersion, really, making English your brain's, default operating system.
That's a good way to put it. And the result, the payoff, is speech that just flows better. It's faster, yeah, but also feels more natural.
Okay, so thinking in English is foundational. What builds on that?
Using common phrases and sentence starters. This is huge for speed and smoothness.
Right, because native speakers don't invent every sentence from scratch, do they?
Not at all. We rely heavily on these sort of prefabricated chunks of language. It's much quicker.
Like, how are you? Fine, thanks you. It's automatic. You don't parse the grammar.
Exactly that. So the more of these ready-made phrases you have in your toolkit, the less mental energy you spend constructing sentences on the fly.
Okay, so what kind of phrases are most useful?
Well, we saw them grouped into useful categories like forgiving opinions. I think that, in my opinion, as I see it, from my point of view.
Having a few options ready.
Right. For agreeing or disagreeing politely. I totally agree. That's a good point. But, I see what you mean, however.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I entirely agree.
Those help keep the conversation flowing, even in disagreement.
Definitely. And crucially, for buying thinking time instead of just silence or, phrases like, let me think about that. Well, that's an interesting question. Well, that's something to consider. I haven't really thought about that before.
Those are gold. They fill the gap naturally.
They really do. They keep the conversational ball rolling while your brain catches up.
And this applies to everyday stuff too, right? Like ordering coffee.
Absolutely. Instead of thinking, I want one coffee, just knowing, can I get a latte, please? Or I'll have a flat white is much smoother, faster.
So the advice is, learn these phrases actively.
Yes. Don't just notice them, learn them, repeat them out loud. Maybe write them down, try using them. The goal is to make them automatic.
And mental shortcuts.
Exactly. Think of them as building blocks. Instead of tiny Lego bricks, individual words, you're using bigger pre-assembled sections. It speeds up the whole building process. You see an instant fluency boost.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, what about those little words that creep in? The ums and us. They definitely slow things down.
They do. And they can also, make you sound less confident, less sure of what you're saying.
Like, we all do it sometimes, but too much is distracting.
It really disrupts the rhythm. The expert advice here is pretty consistent. A pause is better than a filler.
There's violence.
A short, natural pause. It sounds much more confident. It gives you something to think. And it can even add a bit of emphasis. Compare, I think it's a good idea with I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, the second one sounds much more deliberate. Controlled.
Exactly. And a practical way to train yourself out of fillers is timed speaking practice.
How does that work?
Pick a simple topic. Your favorite food, your daily routine, what you did yesterday. Set a timer for, say, 1 minute. And just talk. Try not to stop and try really hard not to use filler words.
Just keep talking for 60 seconds straight.
Yep. Even if you have to use simpler words or repeat yourself slightly, the goal is continuous speech without the ums and ahs. It trains your brain.
Okay. And recording yourself doing this, I imagine that's quite revealing.
Oh, absolutely. You might be surprised how often you use fillers without realizing it. Hearing it back makes you much more conscious.
You suddenly hear every single, cringeworthy maybe, but useful.
Very useful for targeting improvement. And another proactive thing is preparing for common questions.
Like job interview questions or just general chat.
Both, really. Things like, what do you do? Where are you from? What are your hobbies? If you have a smooth, natural answer ready, you won't stumble or resort to fillers when asked.
Right, because you're not searching for the words in that moment.
Exactly. So, quick recap on hesitation. Pause instead of filling. Practice timed continuous speaking. Record yourself to spot your habits and prep for common questions.
Got it. Now, you mentioned shadowing earlier. Let's dive into that. What exactly is it?
Shadowing is basically listening to someone speak, usually a native speaker, and repeating what they say immediately after they say it, like an echo.
Okay, so you're speaking almost at the same time.
Almost exactly, just a fraction of a second behind. And the key focus, initially at least, isn't perfect comprehension.
Not understanding every word.
Right. It's more about matching the sound, the speed, the rhythm, the intonation, the pronunciation. You're mimicking the musicality of the language.
How do you actually practice it?
It's pretty straightforward. First, find some clear audio. A podcast clip, maybe a bit of a YouTube video, a scene from a TV show. Not too slow, not insanely fast. Natural speech.
Okay.
Then you listen and repeat straight away. Don't pause the audio. Just try to keep up, echoing what you hear. Even if you miss words, just keep going.
And repeat the same clip.
Yes, that's crucial. Do the same short clip, maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute, multiple times, until you can say it smoothly and at a similar pace to the original speaker.
Did it feel weird at first?
It definitely can, like you're just mindlessly copying, but it's incredibly effective. Some research even suggests it activates mirror neurons, helping your brain internalize speech patterns.
Mirror neurons, like when you see someone yawn.
Sort of, yeah. They're involved in imitation and learning, so shadowing might literally be helping rewire your brain for faster English processing.
Wow. Okay. What if you're a beginner? Can you start with slower audio?
Absolutely. Start slow, get the hang of it, then gradually increase the speed. Using subtitles at first can help too, just to catch the words.
And then try without them?
Yeah, eventually remove them to really focus on listening and matching the sound.
And the big benefit is?
It trains you to speak more automatically without that translation lag. You start thinking in English, rhythm, and patterns. And it's great for pronunciation and flow. Just 5 or 10 minutes a day can make a real difference.
Okay, 5-10 minutes sounds manageable. Now, how does imitation differ from shadowing? It sounds similar.
It builds on shadowing, but takes it a step further. Imitation isn't just about the sound and rhythm, it's about copying the whole package.
The whole package. You mean like,
Pronunciation, intonation, rhythm, yes, but also the speaker's tone of voice, their energy, even aspects of their body language or facial expressions if you're watching them.
so it's more like acting, trying to become that speaker for a moment.
Exactly. Think about how actors learn accents or specific ways of speaking for a role. They immerse themselves in it.
Okay, so how do you practice imitation?
First, pick a native speaker you like the sound of. Someone whose style you admire. Could be anyone, YouTuber, podcaster, actor.
Find your English-speaking role model.
Pretty much. Then, watch and listen really closely. Pay attention to how they speak, how their mouth moves, the rise and fall of their voice, how words link together, their speed, their pauses.
Really analyze it.
Yes. And then you imitate everything. Try to replicate their voice, their rhythm, their energy. If you can, record yourself doing it.
Why recorder?
So you can compare your imitation to the original. It helps you pinpoint where you sound different and what you need to adjust.
Makes sense. Should you start with long chunks?
No, definitely start small. Short clips, maybe 30 seconds. Repeat it over and over until your imitation feels pretty close.
And copy the emotion too, like if they sound excited.
Yes. Try to match that energy. If they're serious, match that seriousness. It makes your own speaking more expressive and confident, not just faster.
So imitation is like shadowing plus performance.
That's a good way to think about it. Choose a speaker, watch closely, imitate everything, repeat, and record for feedback. Improve speed, confidence, clarity, the works.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. A big fear for many learners is making grammar mistakes. Does worrying about that slow you down?
Hugely. It's probably one of the biggest breaks on fluency, this constant self-monitoring, trying to get every single tense and preposition perfect.
Yeah.
It leads to hesitation.
You get stuck thinking about the rule instead of just saying the thing.
Exactly. And here's the secret. Fluent speech, even from native speakers, isn't always grammatically perfect. We make little slips all the time in conversation.
So the goal isn't textbook perfection when speaking.
Not in the heat of conversation, no. The goal is clear communication. Prioritize getting your message across.
So what are the strategies to avoid getting bogged down by grammar?
Well, first, try using simpler sentence structures, especially when you feel unsure.
How so? Give me an example.
Instead of trying a complex conditional like, if I had had more time, I would have been able to finish the report, you could just say, I didn't have enough time, so I couldn't finish the report.
Simpler structure, same basic meaning, easier to produce quickly.
Much easier. Second, consciously focus on conveying your idea. Trust that listeners are generally more interested in what you're saying than in analyzing your grammar. Minor errors often don't impede understanding.
Focus on the message, not just the mechanics.
Right. And third, just practice speaking more automatically. The more you speak, especially about familiar topics or using those timed exercises, the more your brain gets used to forming sentences without intense grammatical analysis.
Like building muscle memory for language.
Kind of, yeah. Even just telling someone about your day, focusing on the story rather than perfect grammar, helps build that automaticity.
So the key takeaway is communication over grammatical perfection for fluency.
Precisely. Simple sentences, focus on the idea, and practice speaking regularly to make it more automatic.
Okay, now that we know what to do, are there common mistakes people make when they try to speak faster? Things to avoid.
Oh, definitely. It's easy to fall into a few traps when speed is the goal.
Like what? What's mistake number one?
Rushing the words so much that you become unclear,
Mm-hmm.
mumbling or slurring words together. The goal is faster, clear speech, not just rapid-fire sounds.
So speed shouldn't sacrifice clarity. What's the fix?
Focus on smooth, natural rhythm and clear pronunciation, even as you speed up. Recording yourself is great here. Listen back honestly. Are you actually understandable?
Good point. What's another common mistake?
Neglecting pronunciation. Trying to go fast without having a solid grasp of how words and sounds should be pronounced. Skipping sounds, mispronouncing vowels.
And that makes it hard for people to understand you, right? Might even slow things down if they have to ask, what did you say?
Exactly. The solution is often to practice pronunciation slowly first. Get the sounds right. Then gradually build speed. It's like learning to run. You need to learn to walk correctly first.
Walk before you run. Makes sense. Mistake number 3.
Overusing those filler words. We talked about the likes, knows. When you try to speak fast and use fillers, it can sound quite chaotic.
Right, it compounds the problem. The solution is still.
Pause. A clean pause is always better. Be conscious of it.
And the last common mistake you see.
not practicing in realistic situations. You can do all the exercises in the world, but if you never try to speak faster in an actual conversation, it won't stick.
So theory without practice.
Exactly. You need to bridge that gap. Join conversation groups, practice with friends, talk to yourself in the mirror, simulating a conversation, even use low-pressure situations like ordering food or asking for directions as practice grounds.
Okay, so the pitfalls are sacrificing clarity for speed, poor pronunciation, too many fillers, and lack of real-world practice.
Those are the main ones to watch out for. Avoid them, and you'll progress much more effectively.
All right, let's get really practical now. What are some specific daily exercises people can do to actively work on speaking faster?
Okay, first one. The 1-minute speaking challenge we touched on.
Right. Pick a topic, speak for a minute, no stopping, try to avoid fillers.
Exactly. Simple topic, favorite hobby, last vacation, plans for the weekend. Just keep the words flowing. Use simple language if needed. Recording it is highly recommended for self-assessment.
Okay, exercise 1, 1-minute challenge. What's next?
Exercise 2, shadowing. Make it a daily habit. 5-10 minutes. Find some audio you like, maybe a podcast segment or a YouTube clip with native speakers talking naturally fast.
And just echo them immediately.
Yep. Focus on matching their speed and rhythm. Start slower if you need to, then work up to faster content.
Exercise 2, daily shadowing. Got it. Number 3.
Speed reading aloud. Find a short text, a news article, a blog post, maybe dialogue from a script.
And read it out loud.
As fast as you comfortably can while staying clear. Push your pace slightly. If you stumble on a word, repeat it a few times quickly. It trains your mouth and brain to articulate faster.
Okay, speed reading aloud. Makes sense. And the last one.
Exercise 4. Commit to 10 minutes of daily English speaking. Minimum.
Just speaking. To who?
Could be anyone or anything. Talk to a language partner. Record yourself talking about your day or opinion on something. Even talk to yourself in the mirror, narrating what you're doing or thinking.
The key is just activating the speaking part of your brain in English every day.
Exactly. Consistency is everything. It doesn't have to be a long time, but it needs to be regular.
So, the daily toolkit. 1-minute challenge, shadowing, speed reading aloud, and 10 minutes of dedicated speaking.
That's a solid set of exercises. Doing those consistently will definitely build faster speaking habits.
We have covered so much ground today. From, the mental shift of thinking in English.
To using those phrases, banks, cutting fillers.
The techniques of shadowing and imitation, not overthinking grammar.
Avoiding common mistakes and those daily practice drills. It's quite a comprehensive picture.
But I think it's really important to circle back to the main goal, isn't it? It's not just about speed for speed's sake.
Absolutely not. Rushing isn't fluency. The goal is smooth, clear, confident communication. Being able to express your thoughts effectively, connect with people.
That's the real prize. And that fluency, that confidence, it comes from putting in the work.
Consistent effort, even small amounts, done daily, add up significantly over time.
So maybe a little challenge for everyone listening.
Yeah, let's do it.
Pick just one thing, one technique from everything we've talked about today that kind of clicked with you.
Maybe it's trying the thinking in English while you make coffee tomorrow morning.
Or finding a 30-second audio clip right now and trying to shadow it a few times.
Just choose one small thing and actually do it. Start today.
Think about which strategy feels like the easiest entry point for you in your routine.
Because making these small, consistent changes, that's where the real progress happens. You start to notice improvements in your speed, yes, but also just your overall comfort and flow in English.
It really is a journey, isn't it, language learning? But becoming a faster, more natural speaker is such a, satisfying part of that journey.
It opens up so many more possibilities for connection and communication. Applying these strategies might just get you there quicker than you think.